He's afraid always. He just hold the guys, smelling his balls for 25 minutes. Everybody, one more fight, everybody going to be enough of that guy. That fight was horrible. I think one more, and, then they're going to call me to cut his off.
So how do you know that he takes you down, you get back up? What do you got that DDP didn't have where he couldn't get back up in that fight?
DDP got stuck in that crucifix. Chimaev has good positions above, but he could not hit anyway. But DDP did a worse job. Yeah, he got stuck in the crucifix for 5 minutes, and then when I saw that, I thought, man, the fight is over because you're going to be gassed. But even then, in the last fifth round, he came to fight, and Chimaev was not there to fight stand up again. He needed to put down and hold again. That's it.
Paulo Costa roast Khamzat Chimaev again after the DDP fight. He said he just hold the guys and smell his for 25 minutes. One more fight, everybody gonna have enough of this guy. And also he sends a clear warning message to Shara bullet Magomedov. He said, one single good eye poke, be penalized with one less point. Shara fights 100% blind. Deal.
Paulo Costa is set to fight Shara Bullet for UFC Qatar. Date is happening in 22 November.
We're diving deep into these explosive comments that have the entire MMA world buzzing. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell because this breakdown is going to be intense. Let's jump right into the fire. Paulo Costa is absolutely going off on newly crowned UFC middleweight champion Khamzat Chimaev, and he's not holding back one bit.
Would it be more special if you were able to take the belt from him when you finally fight for the title again?
Yeah, of course, everybody knows I don't like the guy, but I don't think many people take he so serious anymore. He just stopped to fight. He didn't beat anybody in the middleweight division, top contenders or something, or even top 15. He didn't beat anybody in the top 15 middleweight division. How you can take this guy serious? He barely could beat Usman in 10 days short notice. Usman is a welterweight. He didn't cut away to middleweight. And everybody saw that fight. I was there. Even the guy jumping me in the ground is crazy.
After Chimaev's dominant but controversial wrestling-heavy victory over Dricus du Plessis at UFC 319, Costa took to social media with some brutal criticism. Here's exactly what the Brazilian bad boy said, and I quote, "He just hold the guys and smell his for 25 minutes. One more fight, everybody gonna have enough of this guy." Now that's some serious trash talk right there. Costa is basically calling out Chimaev's fighting style, saying he just wrestles and holds opponents without creating any real excitement. And honestly, Costa wasn't the only one feeling this way. Even fans at the arena were booing during the fight.
Chimaev, Gometchen, you are a coward. And I'm here, I'm gonna look for you. I'm gonna change for you, and I will not stop until I get to you.
This beef between Costa and Chimaev has been brewing for months. Remember, Chimaev previously dismissed Costa, saying his bank account was 10 times better and calling the Brazilian poor. Well, it looks like Costa is firing back with interest. The question is, does Costa have a point about Chimaev's fighting style, or is this just sour grapes from someone who's been calling for this fight forever? But wait, there's more. Costa isn't just targeting Chimaev. He's also got his sights set on his upcoming opponent, Shara bullet Magomedov. And this one gets dark, folks.
Yeah, of course, everybody knows I don't like the guy. He didn't beat anybody in the middleweight division, top contenders or something, or even top 15. He didn't beat anybody in the top 15 middleweight division. How you can take this guy serious? He barely could beat Usman in 10 days short notice. Usman is a welterweight. He didn't cut away to middleweight. And everybody saw that fight. I was there. After beat Whitaker, bro, I will not want to hear his name. He need to do something. He need to beat somebody at least top 10 in the middleweight. He didn't yet, and I don't think he's capable.
For those who don't know, Costa is set to fight Magomedov at UFC Qatar on November 22nd. Now, what makes this particularly interesting and controversial is that Magomedov fights with only one functional eye after a training injury early in his career. And Costa? Well, he decided to address this in the most Paulo Costa way possible. Check out what he posted on social media. One single good eye poke. Be penalized with one less point. Shara fights 100% blind. Deal. Yikes, that's definitely crossing some lines right there. Costa is basically making a joke about potentially eye-poking a fighter who already has vision in only one eye. Now, for context, Magomedov has been incredibly inspiring in his journey. Despite losing his eye and requiring 8 surgeries, he's built a 16-1 record with 12 knockouts. He's drawn inspiration from Michael Bisping, who also fought effectively with one eye after his injury. Magomedov is a legit threat too. He's coming off spectacular knockouts, including that insane double-spinning back fist that went viral. This isn't going to be an easy fight for Costa, despite his trash talk. Now, let's put this all in perspective. Paulo Costa is at a crossroads in his career right now. The 34-year-old Brazilian has only won one of his last 5 fights before his recent victory over Roman Kopylov at UFC 318.
Way out, hanging tough.
Oh, then he went high.
And this is now the longest pro fight of Paulo Costa's career.
He's hurt.
Might end here shortly.
But
Johnny's still firing back.
But look at Costa, the young guy, not just headhunting here. Point to the
Oh,
bottom.
that's it.
Whoa! Paulo Costa does it again.
Costa built his reputation as this aggressive knockout artist with that incredible 13-0 run, but losses to top guys like Israel Adesanya, Robert Whittaker, and Sean Strickland have pushed him down to 13th in the middleweight rankings. So why is Costa being so vocal and controversial? It's simple. He needs attention and momentum. He's admitted that he's trying to rebuild relationships with the UFC brass and put on exciting fights to convince them he's worth investing in again. His fight with Shara Magomedov represents a real opportunity. Magomedov is unranked but extremely dangerous. A win here, especially an impressive one, could put Costa back in the conversation for bigger fights. Maybe even that Chimaev fight he's been calling for. But here's the thing, Costa's trash talk might be backfiring. Making jokes about a fighter's disability isn't exactly endearing him to fans or the UFC. There's a heel, and then there's crossing lines that maybe shouldn't be crossed. So what's next for Paulo Costa? Well, first he's got to handle business against Shara Magomedov in Qatar. And despite his trash talk, this is not going to be an easy fight. Magomedov has incredible striking skills, combining his background as a Russian Muay Thai champion with devastating power. That double-spinning back fist knockout showed he can end fights in spectacular fashion. If Costa wins impressively, maybe he gets that Chimaev fight he's been desperately wanting. If he loses, well, at 34 years old with his recent record, it might be time to seriously reconsider his approach to both fighting and promoting himself. As for Chimaev, the new champion will likely be looking at bigger names for his first title defense, but never say never in the fight game. If Costa keeps making noise and picking up wins, stranger things have happened. Until next time, keep your hands up and your eyes on the prize. This is signing off. We'll see you in the next one.
It was largely uneventful. It wasn't exactly a blockbuster, and Alex Pereira kind of showed up. He was a little flat-footed, he didn't execute, he didn't pull the trigger, and for the most part, allowed Magomed Ankalaev to put him on the back foot, to threat takedowns, to push him up against the fence, and outstrike one of the best strikers that the UFC's ever seen. So, can Alex Pereira come back and beat him in the rematch?
Tem que ser mais agressivo só, você entendeu? Entra lá fundão, Bruno. Tipo aquele. Foi igual pra ela. Chama mais difícil pra ele, vai.
Go. Go. Here we go. Alright, good. Olha, levanta, levanta. Get up. Bora. Vamos. É. Olha, consegui.
Magomed Ankalaev has just delivered a brutal warning message to Alex Pereira, and Powhatan has responded with what might be the most shocking social media post of his UFC career. Is the former two-division champion getting cold feet? Is he making excuses? Or is there something deeper going on behind the scenes? Stick around because this story has more twists than a John Jones career timeline. Let's start with the fireworks. Training footage recently surfaced, showing Alex Pereira drilling takedown defense with multiple partners in rapid succession. Sounds normal, right? Well, not according to the man who took his belt. Magomed Ankalaev saw this footage and absolutely destroyed Pereira on social media with this savage response. This guy brought a punch taxi driver to help him with wrestling. You don't need to worry about wrestling, I'm gonna find this big head again.
Tem que ser mais agressivo só. Você entendeu? Tenta lá fundão, Bruno. Tipo aquele. Foi igual o Rafael. É mais difícil pra ele, vai.
Go. Let's go. Here we go. Alright, good. Boa, Alex. Levanta, levanta. Boa, vai, Alex.
Now that's some grade A trash talk. But here's why it's so devastating. Ankalaev is basically calling out Pereira for training for the wrong fight. Let's rewind to UFC 313 in March. Everyone expected Ankalaev to wrestle Pereira into the ground, right? Wrong. The Dagestani attempted takedowns early, but Pereira stuffed every single one, all 12 attempts. So how did Ankalaev win? He outboxed the former kickboxing world champion at his own game.
It was clear that his game plan, a lot of his camp was in defending takedowns. He had a lot of success in that aspect. Were you surprised at how well prepared he was for your wrestling?
You know, he was considered to be the best striker in the division on the way to this fight. That's what everybody was talking about. The narrative was that he's the best. You saw what kind of best striker he was in the fight. You saw how well we did against his striking and how our striking was working. We didn't have to rely on our wrestling because we were confident in our striking. We were trying to get him to go forward the entire time. That's where we were baiting. That's where we were trying to push, and he never walked forward. You know, I knew that against the cage, he was going to be pretty good at defending takedowns because in the light heavyweight division, it's pretty hard to take somebody down against the cage. So we thought that the fight was going to be moving forward. He was going to be pressuring, and we would be able to wrestle with him in the middle of the octagon. Obviously, you saw that that wasn't the case.
Ankalaev used pressure, superior cage cutting, and smarter striking to win a unanimous decision. He beat Pereira where Pereira was supposed to be unbeatable, on the feet. And now, 6 months later, Pereira is drilling wrestling defense against what Ankalaev mockingly calls taxi drivers. The message is clear. You're preparing for a fight that isn't coming, and I'm going to beat you the same way I did before. But here's where this story takes a dramatic turn. Just as fans were debating Pereira's training approach, Powhatan dropped a bombshell on social media that has everyone asking, is Alex Pereira scared? In a cryptic message that sent shockwaves through the MMA community, Pereira wrote, I always answered the UFC's calls, but if they want to play with me, we can do that. I've never spoken poorly of the UFC, but with what I've just heard, I'm disheartened. I've already had thoughts of not fighting anymore. And after what was just relayed to me, this may be the start. Wait, what? The man who became a two-division champion in record time, who built his reputation on taking fights on short notice, who never backed down from anyone, is now talking about retirement?
There was one guy that was very, very dominant for a while, Alex Pereira. One of my guys kept hating him when Ankalaev gets his hands on, you know. So was I wrong?
If they fight again, and they will fight again probably in October, it's going to be worse for Alex. I think Alex is a good fighter. He's a lion. It was engineered. UFC have some of the best matchmaker in the world. Ankalaev should have been champion 2-3 years ago. Alex would never been a champion. He was a scary guy, touching people, knocking him out. But he fought a whole bunch of mediocre strikers. None of these guys was like high-level strikers. Ankalaev, he can wrestle, he can grapple, and he can strike. This is Ankalaev time. Should have been Ankalaev time. All the UFC was all sandbagging him. They know what's coming, and they was praying to lose.
This is the same Alex Pereira who fought 3 times in 7 months last year. The same guy who moved up a weight class and immediately started collecting scalps. And now he's having thoughts of not fighting anymore, right before his biggest rematch? The timing is suspicious. Ankalaev calls out his training, questions start swirling about whether he can adapt his game, And suddenly Pereira is posting about UFC disputes and potential retirement? Meanwhile, Ankalaev is walking around like he's already retained his title. The Russian champion isn't just confident, he's predicting the rematch will be easier than their first fight. I think the rematch will be much easier than the first fight because statistics always show that fighting me in a rematch is very dangerous, Ankalaev stated.
I was going to say, it sounds like a rematch. I asked Dana, and he said he's not sure, but a rematch probably makes sense, given it was close. I mean, is that the fight you want the most? And if so, how soon would you like to do it?
Я готов. Я никогда не выбирал соперников, не выбирал дату. Так что мы ждем предложение, и мы легкостью примем это предложение. Если хотят реванш, то двери открыты.
Yes, I never picked my opponent, so I'm very much happy and ready for a rematch. Whenever UFC offers it to us, if we'll see what the date is, we'll be happy to accept it.
He's pointing to his track record with guys like Johnny Walker and Ion Kutalaba, fighters who learned the hard way that facing Ankalaev twice is a nightmare scenario. But here's the most chilling part of his confidence. I'll do whatever it takes to dominate. If I need to wrestle, I'll wrestle. If I need to strike, I'll strike. I don't think we'll have problems anywhere. Ankalaev is basically saying he has all the tools, and Pereira is training for just one of them. While Poatan is drilling takedown defense, Ankalaev is probably working on the pressure boxing and cage cutting that already worked once. Even more brutal, Ankalaev wants Pereira at 100%. Let him prepare. That's fine. I actually want him to come into this fight 100%, so there are no questions about the outcome.
Каким ты видишь повторный реванш, как он пройдет?
Ну, я думаю, реванш пойдет намного легче, чем первый бой, так как статистика говорит всегда, реванши со мной выходить это очень опасно. Я думаю, мы подтвердим то же самое, что со мной не стоит выходить на реванш.
Может быть, в этот раз вообще не стоит пытаться перевести Алекса, потому что ты, в принципе, перебивал ее стойки.
Все может быть. Я буду делать все, чтобы доминировать. Если бороться, надо будет бороться, биться стойки. Я думаю, у нас не будет проблем нигде.
А ты видел отрывки тренировок Алекса Перейры, где его там борют, он встает постоянно. То есть, очевидно, он готовится к тому, что будет вставать постоянно.
Да, вполне возможно, что я не буду его переводить. Может, он это делает зря. Ну, пускай делает, готовится. Я, наоборот, хочу, чтобы он подходил к этому бою на 100% готов, чтобы у него не оставались вопросы по поводу поединка, чтобы не было таких разговоров, как в прошлом бою, что не был готов или что-то было не сделано. Я хочу, чтобы он подошел в хорошей форме и после нашего поединка, чтобы у него не было оправданий.
That's the confidence of a man who believes he's already figured out the puzzle. Here's what's really happening. Alex Pereira might be falling into the classic rematch trap. He's so focused on fixing what he thinks went wrong that he's missing what actually went wrong. Fans and analysts are pointing out the obvious. Pereira's takedown defense worked perfectly the first time. He stuffed everything Ankalaev threw at him. But those takedown attempts still served a purpose. They kept Pereira pressed against the fence, disrupted his rhythm, and gave Ankalaev opportunities to land clean shots. The problem wasn't Pereira's wrestling defense. It was his striking offense. He couldn't create the space he needed to unleash his devastating power. He couldn't cut off the cage effectively. He couldn't solve Ankalaev's pressure game. Now, Chinese contender Zhang Mingyang has added another layer to this story, suggesting Pereira has lost his hunger. He has earned too much money. He's too rich, Zhang said. If you are too rich, you are just kind of lacking motivation.
We mentioned the title fight. Magomed Ankalaev is the champion. He's running it back with Alex Pereira at UFC 320 on October 4th. I'm curious, who do you think wins that fight? What's your prediction for the title fight?
觉得我还是会选择安卡拉耶夫，因为我觉得佩雷拉好像现在没有战斗的欲望。如果说真正的佩雷拉回来了，我觉得在战力上还是佩雷拉有优势。但是如果说佩雷拉还像之前那样的话，我会选择安卡拉耶夫。
Yeah, I think still Ankalaev can defend his title because I think Pereira is not as motivated as before. So I mean, if we can get the old Pereira back, he is still the better striker than Ankalaev. But for now, if he still fought like the way like he fought last fight, I think Ankalaev can still win this fight.
Why do you think